Hey all, it's Jace here. It is currently Thursday, July 1st at around 12:10-ish p.m. and we just got, as you can see on my screen, a new blog post for Hytale. Also, I'm using webcam today because this is a little bit of a reaction type thing. So we're going to be reading through this. I haven't read a word of it yet. Um, so I guess let's just get into this. We've been waiting for this for a while, so I'm pretty excited to see what we've got here. So start off. Hello, everyone. Sorry, let me try that again. Hello, everyone. In today's post, we're going to provide an update on the progress we've made in the last 6 months, explain how our plans for Hytale have evolved, and take a look at some new updated aspects of the game, including weapon-specific combat styles, character customization, and AI. The first half of 2021 has been a period of significant change both for Hytale and Hypixel Studios. We've continued to recruit new team members whose talents and unique perspectives have expanded our sense of what Hytale can be. We've changed the way we work, steadily moving away from the exploratory approach that has defined the project's first few years towards a more efficient, targeted production milestones. At the same time, our design for Hytale has been evolving. Some parts of the game have undergone radical change, while in other areas we've expanded on an established groundwork. At the core of all of this is a commitment to creating the best game we possibly can, to making a contribution to the genre that surpasses and delights players while empowering creators for many years to come. Okay, so that's nice. And we get a little image here of a jackalope and a young jackalope, as well as like a Quebec elder. That's pretty neat. Moving on. Our plan for Hytale is ambitious, and we are very fortunate to be in a position where we have the time, people, and resources that we need to get it right. However, getting it right involves a ton of experimentation, irritation, and change. This introduces a lot of uncertainty to the development process, and while we believe this is healthy, it has been good to challenge our assumptions. It has also meant that we have been less open than we used to be. We needed space and time to make major decisions about the project. Even so, we know that half a year is a long time to wait for an update. The reason that answers have not been more forthcoming this year is because, until recently, we did not have them. We have spent this time considering many possible approaches to launch, okay, factoring in many different perspectives, doing a ton of research, and developing a better understanding of what we need to do in order to meet our goals. That, fingers crossed, that looks like they might give us some launch information. Also, this is a really nice looking tower. This looks like we got. This looks like one of the towers we've seen in one of the clips, where it's like the rain is like falling and it's like showing off like the audio stuff. I'll probably show that on screen now, but all right. What has become increasingly apparent is that we have several more years of work ahead of us before Hytale. Fuck you. Oh my god. What has become increasingly apparent to us is that we have several more years of work ahead of us before Hytale is ready to launch. We don't want to provide another estimated launch window that turns out to be incorrect. However, we no longer expect to be ready to launch Hytale before 2023 at the earliest, and it could very well take longer. Okay. There are two key considerations driving this assessment. The first is that our capabilities as a studio have significantly improved and the scope of what we can do has expanded. Put simply, we're better at making games than we used to be, but taking full advantage of this takes time. The second consideration is we need to develop Hytale in a way that allows us to bring it to multiple platforms as rapidly as possible. It's always been our goal to eventually release Hytale on mobile and consoles as well as PC. I thought they said that they only planned on putting it on PC on launch. Why are they suddenly Okay, I'll keep reading. But it has become apparent that we were heading for a scenario where our community would be ultimate or would let me try that again. I'm sorry. But it has become apparent that we were heading for a scenario where our community would ultimately find itself split across versions and devices. We think it is enormously important to avoid this, to create an ecosystem where as many players as possible can play together and share the creations. However, this means making major changes to Hytale's engine and our approach to launch, and this extends development time. Arriving at this decision has been a challenging process. None of us expected this to be such a long project, and we are aware that this approach brings its own risks and costs. We're mindful of the dangers of scope creep, and we're working to ensure that we proceed with a strong sense of what done means. We also know that prolonged development is going to be unwelcome news for the Hytale community. We started back in December, and we didn't believe it was fair to allow anticipation to remain at a fever pitch. However, we're aware that reduced communication over the last 6 months has allowed speculation to bubble back up again, and that news of a longer wait is likely to be a shock to many. Even so, we strongly believe that the choice to spend longer in development will serve our community best in the long run. You are wrong about that, but okay. It's worth reiterating that we won't release Hytale as a surprise. When we're on the final approach to launch, we'll let everyone know in plenty of time. There will undoubtedly be new job listings, updates to our website, and changes to our backend systems in the interviewing period. While we understand that the temptation to interrupt these as a sign of launch is imminent, or to interpret these as a sign of launch is imminent, they're a normal part of our working process and not an indication that our plans have changed. Another consequence of this approach is that weekly screenshots are no longer a viable way for us to update the community. The major technical changes that we're making will mean that for a time, it will be more complicated to produce screenshots and clips that accurately reflect the experience the players will have when Hytale launches. We're also looking at a longer production process, and we want to make sure that Hytale has some surprises left in store when players get their hands on it. However, as has already been said, our need for privacy over the last 6 months has been driven by tough decisions that we needed to make. Now that those decisions are made and our broader plans announced, it's possible for us to open up a little bit and be more engaged with the community. In that regard, you can expect us to approach our approach to communication to change. We'll post fewer, more substantial official updates, interspersed with increased engagement from the team as we go about the day-to-day working of building Hytale. This has been a challenging set of decisions to make, but the position we're in is extremely unfortunate. Yeah, it is. We're in this position because of the huge response to the Hytale announcement, as well as the energy and enthusiasm that the Hytale community has subsequently invested in our project. We are enormously grateful for all that investment, and it will be at the forefront of our minds when we're finally ready to share Hytale with you all. In the meantime, let's take a look at some new stuff. Expanded character customization. Personalization of your player character is central to the theme of Hytale. We're making a game that offers a lot of different ways to play, from solo or co-op adventure to mini games and other social activities. Your character is at the heart of all of these, a living expression of your choices, experiences, and achievements. We want to ensure that players feel unconstrained in their creativity and self-expression, and that has meant taking a new approach to the player character, who they are, what they can be, and how they fit in the world of Hytale. So we get a screenshot of some new player customization. So this is the stuff they've been. Okay, I'll keep going. I'll watch the video real quick though. That's kind of neat, I guess. I don't really care though. This is all stuff that could have been modded in anyways. I'm sure, right? All right. Our player characters are avatars, the powerful, playful, and protean denizens of a boundless realm known as the Alterverse, drawn to Orbis by a mysterious cosmic event. Many avatars find themselves adopting forms influenced by this emergent world. So, okay, that's neat. However, others manifest unique forms inspired by the infinite diversity of the wider Ultraverse, and all avatars are free to adjust their appearance as the mood strikes them. You are free to mix and match basic components like faces, eyes, hair, layer on additional fantastic elements like horns, pointy ears, or tusks, and combine these with modern fashions, adventuring garb, or cosplay. We're continually working to expand the options available while also extending our layering system to allow more sophisticated customization of clothing and gear. That's something that should have been added post-launch. Like, we don't care that much about player customization. We just want to get our hands on the game. I don't get why this is such a focal point all of a sudden. Okay. We want players to feel free to carve out their own identities and to feel supported in doing this, both by the suite of opinions on offer and by the story of Hytale itself. Creativity and change are the lifeblood of the Altarverse, and the avatars are its living expression. The name Avatar captures the double role that every player character fulfills, both as the character in a high fantasy adventure story and as an expression of the player's online identity. We know from experience how important it is to let players create personas that that follow them seamlessly, not just between the various game modes of Hytale, but beyond their social media accounts and creator channels. These are forms of creative expression at the end of the day. And a new approach to combat, finally. We've begun completely rebuilding Hytale's combat system over the course of the last year, prototyping and testing several revisions before adopting our current approach. At the heart of these changes are the weapons that each avatar carries. Okay. Which weapons you carry forms the cornerstone of your combat playstyle, providing you with a set of abilities specific to that weapon type. So I was kind of right. We want to make sure that weapons feel distinct from one another, offering more than simple changes to attack speed or damage. Alongside these changes, we've also overhauled the audio VFX for combat to emphasize the power of each blow, which we know nothing about because we haven't heard any actual combat noises in the game at all, so I don't know why they would tell us that. The UI is also undergoing significant changes to support the new combat system, including dedicated UI elements for new features like stamina, blocking, and signature moves. More on these in a bit. Again, we didn't see the UI either. We have seen basically nothing about the game. So, okay. We're not ready to share these changes just yet, of course, which is why we've disabled the UI in the clips below. Let's take a look at these two examples. I don't see how this is wildly different from any of the combat clips that we've seen before. It just looks like he's doing a new stabbing attack and they changed the sound effects a little. I don't get how this is like some massive overhaul. Like, it looks neat and like the VFX are cool, but like I don't get why this took them an extra year to complete. But alright, we're rolling with it. In this clip, we run through the fundamental moveset of the one-handed sword. Basic attacks take the form of a 3-hit combo, striking from the right and left, followed by an overhead chop. The sword's special attack is a charged lunge, which incorporates a short dash and applies knockback to the target. The sword's signature move, which is charged by landing blows and blocking incoming strikes, is a dramatic spin followed by another powerful lunge. This does damage in an area while rewarding good positioning with the ability to deal sudden damage to a key foe. That's kind of neat. I kind of like that. The sword is a weapon that favors defensive and reactive play, offering good utility in the form of lunges and knockback while providing a steady damage output. It pairs well with a shield, which provides the ability to block frontal attacks as long as the wielder has sufficient stamina. Good stamina management allows the sword and shield users to safely charge their signature move by blocking blows, allowing them to follow up with a powerful precision strike. In PvP, sword and shield users are difficult to pin down and overwhelm. They can achieve surprising mobility with their charged lunge, and they can control the pace of a fight with their shield. However, baiting out unnecessary blocks and overlasting their stamina leaves them vulnerable and reduces their ability to flee. That's pretty neat. I like that they're actually putting some thought into the combat system. But again, I don't see why this took so obscenely long to figure out. I It's a neat clip. Here's a very different weapon, the mace. Mace strikes are slow, consume a chunk of stamina, but do plenty of damage and knockback. Basic attacks take the form of steady right-left swings, while the alternate attack provides a high knockback hit bash. Wow, that I can't read for some reason. The mace can be charged to perform a powerful special attack, and its signature is a devastating leaping slam that deals massive damage and knockback to all enemies near the impact zone. Good mace players are always aware of the timing and direction of their strike and avoid wasting stamina on wild swings. Their defensive power comes entirely from managing the flow of battle with knockback, so positioning and situational awareness is key. It's certainly less safe than hiding behind a shield, but makes a mace wielder significantly more dangerous when fighting near an environmental hazard like a cliff or lava. These are the two weapon types that we've been working on, so I'm hoping that implies that they've also been working on other ones and not exclusively these two. We've also been testing new playstyles for daggers, which favor hit and run attacks and provide a ton of bonus mobility, and battle axes, which build up powerful damage boosts by landing successive hits, encouraging all-in aggression. The next step is to extend this depth and variety to ranged weapons. So they're not even done with revamping the combat system, is what they're saying, while giving players additional ways to customize their playstyle through the use of armor and trinkets, which I'm sure is going to take another year of development time. The overall goal of this system is to encourage players to compose their own approach to combat by combining a wide array of meaningfully distinct elements. AI advancements, oh my god, there's more, okay? That's a cool looking goblin though. I like the little cloak. In the last 6 months, the team has made substantial additions to Hytale's modular AI system in order to add depth, interest, and variety to PvE combat, which, again, could have probably been added post-launch. The new system, which we've been calling the Combat Action Evaluator, allows NPCs to make smarter decisions about targets, weapons, and approaches to battle. The system allows specific creatures to express their personalities through the way they fight. NPCs assess various conditions, including number and behavior of foes, in order to guide their next action. These range from the target and timing of their basic attacks to the execution of specific actions, like switching weapons, using a special attack, or fleeing. The system is built to be configurable and allows for a variety of The system is built to be configurable and allows for a variable degree of fuzziness. Just because the system can choose an optimal move doesn't mean that the NPCs have to use them. We've built it in this way in order to prevent NPCs from becoming predictable. We found that characters have a greater sense of life when they're allowed to make mistakes. Whew, okay. Sorry, I'm reading aloud is not my spiel. Here's an example of the new system in action. The following clip shows a duel between two avatars armed with swords and shields. One of these characters is being controlled by a player, and the other is an AI. This is pretty cool, actually. That looks pretty cool. Okay. I could definitely tell which one was the AI though. But I guess that's kind of intentional. Okay. Our goal wasn't necessarily to create an AI that could perfectly mimic a player, but we've gotten closer to that than we expected. This dueling AI has proved useful for testing new weapon designs, and it's claimed its fair share of victories against some of the better PvPers on the team. Don't tell me that, like, AI are gonna be crazy good at, like, fighting, because that'll be kind of annoying in-game, I'm sure, but whatever. Also, new mob reveal. I know that people are gonna be all over that in, like, a week. We know that this has been a long post with a lot of new information to digest, and we want to reiterate how grateful we are for the passion and enthusiasm of the Hytale community, which will now immediately die now that they've announced that it's not coming out for another 2 whole years. The development of Hytale continues to be a very, very long, exciting, challenging journey, and it's not always been easy, particularly when we've had to make tough decisions. At the end of the day, however, what motivates us is a desire to do right by our team and by our community, which you have failed miserably to do in this post. I'm sorry, but like you can't you okay, I'll talk about this in a minute. Let me just finish the blog post first. We'll leave you with a track from the new Hytale OST, Adventure and Chill, by Hytale composer Oscar Garvin. This track was composed as an introduction to Hytale as a whole, branching out from the main theme to touch on all of the different elements of the game we're creating. An immersive and inviting world, a welcoming social space, and a creative sandbox with boundless opportunities for self-expression. Bringing this world to life has turned out to be more challenging than any of us expected, but we're more confident than ever that we're heading in the right direction. I'm not going to listen to all of this. I'm just going to like kind of skip through it a little. Okay. So that's the blog post. I need a water real quick. That was a lot of reading. So this video is 21 minutes long now. Which is kind of ridiculous for me, but it was a long post, and I think it's worth talking about, kind of debriefing a little bit. This sucks. Like, there's no way to sugarcoat it. This is probably the shittiest information that they've given us ever. This was a game that was announced in December of 2018, I think. Let me double check that. Yeah, December of 2018. It's 2021 now, right? So it's like somewhere between 2 and 3 years later, and we've still not even seen a beta for the game, right? And we've now just been told that it's not even going to possibly come out until 2023. That's not even confirmation that it's coming out in 2023, right? Like they said here, we don't want to provide another estimated launch window that turns out to be incorrect. However, we no longer expect to be ready to launch Hytale before 2023 at the earliest, and it could very well take longer. We're never getting this game. This game is never coming out, right? Like I was right like 2 or 3 weeks ago when I made that video saying that it's not coming out in 2021, and I guess I would have been right if I said it's not coming out in 2022 and 2023 either. This is ridiculous. This is going to take as long to come out as Cyberpunk did. That game got announced 7 whole years before it came out, and it sucked on launch because of a bunch of like other complicated issues and stuff that I'm not getting into in this video. But the point is, this is taking too goddamn long. I get that it's a, quote, rough decision for them to make, but all of the shit that they just showed us, they could have totally kept for putting into, like, post-launch updates, right? No one would have been, like, particularly angry if, when they released the game, the combat was, like, kind of mediocre. It wasn't anything special. But then they updated it later to be a lot better than it is now, right? No one would have been mad if the AI was a little bit stupid, but like still like playable against. Like they still like the AI would still like work. And then in a post-launch update, they added new little like widgets and stuff to the AI that made them do different things, like they were showing off in this blog post. No one would have been mad at all if they saved all of the content that they just showed us in this blog post for post-launch updates later down the line. But instead, we are now forced to wait another 2 whole years until we even get a glimpse at what this game will look at in person. No one would have been mad if they saved crossplay for post-launch, right? I get that it's a lot of like fundamental engine rebuilding stuff, but I think it would have been probably workable as a post-launch update. I think what we really need is an explanation as to why none of this is post-launch, right? Like they said that they wanted to they said in the blog post that they wanted to like hold off a little bit longer and keep working on the game so that they can make it better and they can make all of these improvements. But again, what's stopping them from releasing the game now and just adding all of these improvements later down the line? Right? I don't understand why it is necessary to keep the game out of people's hands while they make these changes. Right? And again, they're still using the quote popularity that this trailer got as like an excuse, right? I get that it's almost at 60 million views right now. That's a lot of views, but at the same time it came out like 3 years ago. So I think at least half the people that have seen this trailer at this point couldn't give a rat's ass about this game anymore, right? Like this is rough. This is really rough. I'm gonna try and wrap this up quick because I don't really want this video to go over 30 minutes, especially since like people barely ever watch past like 3 minutes on my videos. But I do at least want to like say my piece and give my like initial reaction to this. We're never getting this game. Like, like I'm pretty confident that like this game is like dead on release now. Just because of that. If they actually stuck to their guns and they like released the game this year and they just added all of this stuff post launch, it would have had like a chance at staying above the waterline, I think, because people would have actually bought the game. They would have like actually like enjoyed it, given constructive feedback, and then in like post launch updates they could have added all of this stuff that they wanted to add, right? Now we're stuck waiting a bare minimum of 2 more years, and honestly, I'm going to predict that it's going to take 4, right? And like let's put that into perspective real quick, okay? If you were in like 8th grade when this game was announced, you will graduate high school by the time it releases. You will probably be going into your freshman year of college, if not graduating your freshman or sophomore year of college by the time this game comes out, right? If you are graduating college when this game was initially announced, you will probably be married by the time it comes out, all right? This is ridiculous. Especially since, like, before they even announced it in 2018, they already had, like, 2, maybe 3 years of development time on the game under their belt. I'm not entirely sure on how much time they've been working on it beforehand. But, like, just the overall development time of this game is going to hit, like, 6 to 8 years, right? Like, ever since the project was started to when it was released. This game's dead in the water now. I'm sorry. I hate to break the bad news to everyone, but, like, there's little, if any, hope for this game at all anymore. Unless they, like, backtrack on this decision, which, like, let's be honest, they're not going to. It's dead in the water. Also, they said that they're going to be changing their communication for the 15th time, and honestly, I don't believe them at this point, right? Like, Hypixel Studios are, like, famously bad for communicating with us at this point, so why are we believing them this time when they say that they're switching up their communication methods, right? What's going to stop them from going dark for another like 8 months because they quote need privacy, you know? If they I hate that excuse too. It's so dumb. If they quote needed privacy to make decisions, that's something that they could have told us before they went dark for 6 months, right? And now they're expecting us to believe them again when they say for the fifth time that they're going to be changing their communication methods. It's not going to happen. They're going to be as bad now as they've been in the past about communicating with us, if not worse. Because now they're not giving us weekly screenshots anymore, and they're going to give us, quote, more substantial blog posts, which means we might be treated to 2 blog posts a year for the next 4 years of development until we get this game. It's dead in the water. I'm sorry. That sucks. Well, I'm just gonna end the video here. Because I don't know what else to say. I'm probably gonna have another video coming out somewhat soon. Just like debriefing my thoughts on this a little bit more, and just kind of reiterating stuff for people that didn't sit through like all 30 minutes of this video. But that's some bad news, man. Damn. That sucks.